I never thought a meeting could shape the rest of my life, but that Wednesday morning did exactly that. My name is Ethan Carter, age 34, and I worked at Meridian Technologies, a mid-sized software consulting company in downtown Chicago. I'd been there 3 years, loyal, hardworking, maybe a bit too quiet for my own good. Every day I showed up early, stayed late, and did the grunt work no one else wanted. I believed hard work would be noticed someday. I just didn't know when. That morning started like any other. I caught the L train at Clark/Lake, earbuds in, heart pumping, that familiar mix of caffeine and mild anxiety. I had a cup of black coffee in hand, a soggy bagel I tried not to think about too much, and a meeting on my calendar marked executive strategy mandatory at 10 a.m. Usually, when an invite comes from the executive team at Meridian, the room is tense. Awkward suits, nervous laughter, PowerPoint slides invading every eye. But this one felt different. It was labeled all hands, which was rare. Plus, our CEO, Daniel Whitmore, rarely called all of us together unless something big was happening. I took my usual seat in the back corner of the 20th floor conference room, near the floor-to-ceiling windows. The sun shone bright that morning, ironic, considering how dark my mood was. People trickled in, chatting, smiling, checking phones. Everyone except me, who sat silently, coffee in hand, trying to look unbothered. The interim VP of Operations, Samantha Lewis, stood at the front mic, trying to fill silence with small talk. Honestly, she sounded like someone trying to convince a room full of people to volunteer for root canal exams. Heads nodded politely, phones lit up, and slowly the room quieted as CEO Whitmore stepped onto the stage. He was a tall man with salt and pepper hair, impossibly sharp suits, and eyes that didn't quite smile even when he wanted them to. The man could diffuse conflict like a pro, but he wasn't someone you felt at ease around. "Good morning," he began, voice measured. "Thanks for coming on such short notice. I'll get right to the point." There was a collective shuffle of chairs. Eyes focused forward. My own heart thumped so loud I worried it might echo through the room. We're at a crossroads. The market is shifting, clients are demanding more, and we need to adjust our strategy to stay competitive. Pretty standard corporate email talk so far. I shifted in my seat, coffee rocking dangerously toward the carpet. Whitmore continued, pacing slowly across the stage. "We are restructuring how we approach client engagements starting next quarter. This will involve leadership changes, project ownership redistribution, and a greater emphasis on innovation." Whispers rippled through the room. Leadership changes, redistribution, innovation. Suddenly everyone perked up, leaning forward. "We're launching a new initiative, Codex," Whitmore said, now with a hint of tension in his voice. "It's going to be our flagship product suite for 2026, and it's going to define Meridian's reputation in the industry." Then came the part one never saw coming. "To lead Codex forward," he paused, scanning the crowd. "We need someone who understands both our clients and our capabilities. Someone who's been in the trenches and has the vision to drive transformation." People glanced at each other. Who was he talking about? Surely not one of the quiet mid-level consultants, right? "We are ready to announce the new director of innovation," Whitmore continued. A ripple of murmurs. Speculative, excited, uncertain. And then he said 3 words that made the air in the room freeze. **** Ethan Carter. Step forward. ***. My jaw went dry. Every muscle in my body felt like it was infected with adrenaline and disbelief. I froze for a heartbeat, maybe 2. Then I heard someone behind me. "Go on, Ethan." It was Marcus Lee, my teammate and usually a jokester. But in that moment, his voice was serious, steady, encouraging. So I stood at my chair, scraped against carpet, coffee cup jittering in my hand. It was surreal, like watching myself from outside my body. People looked at me with a mix of shock, curiosity, confusion, even admiration. I closed the distance to the stage, trying not to make eye contact with anyone. Each step felt heavier than the last, like gravity itself was conspiring against me. The mic now. I could see Whitmore's eyes. No warm familiarity, just a measured gaze, like someone evaluating a chess piece before making a move. "Ethan," he said, voice calm, "you've demonstrated deep technical skill, strong client insight, and unwavering dedication. We believe you are the right person to lead Codex. The room stayed quiet, too quiet. I expected applause, congratulations, maybe even cheers. But it was the opposite. Silence, punctuated by a few awkward coughs and the rustle of jackets. As I stood there, heart hammering, I remembered exactly what had happened last week that led to this moment. Earlier, during project sprint reviews, a few senior leaders had told me to sit in the back at meetings. They said I wasn't ready to speak up, that I should let people with more experience lead discussions. One executive had even joked, "Ethan, you're too quiet. The back row looks good on you." That stung a lot, and I carried it with me every day. But now, standing in front of Meridian's entire leadership, I felt a strange mix of vindication and nerves. This wasn't a victory. Not yet. It was a beginning. And all eyes were on me. The whisper war. It didn't take long for the congratulations to turn into something else. After the meeting ended, people filed out in clusters. I stayed back for a moment, still on stage, half-dazed. Whitmore shook my hand briefly. His grip was firm, but there was something cold about it. Not unfriendly exactly, just strategic. Like he'd just made a chess move and was waiting to see if it would work. I nodded, thanked him, and walked back to my desk. My inbox had already exploded. Some were genuine. "Congrats, man. You earned this. Knew you had it in you." Others felt hollow. "Wow. Big surprise. Guess they're shaking things up." But the whispers started almost immediately. I could feel them like humidity in the office air. Heavy, invisible, clinging to your skin. People didn't say it to my face, of course. But I'd walk into the kitchen and conversations would stop just a second too late. I'd hear my name in passing. Hushed. Clipped. "Why him? He barely talks. Did he lobby for it somehow? And worse, he's just the safe choice. Someone higher up must owe him something. He's not director material." It wasn't rage that hit me, it was doubt. And doubt, as I was about to learn, spreads fast. That week, I tried to play the part. I wore sharper clothes, practiced my posture in the mirror, even Googled things like how to sound more assertive in meetings. I didn't want to fake anything, but I knew the eyes on me now were different. I scheduled one-on-ones with key stakeholders, trying to build trust. Most were polite, some were supportive, but a few made it clear they weren't thrilled. Samantha Lewis, the VP who used to lead most of our strategic projects, gave me one of the coldest handshakes I've ever received. Her tone was clipped, her body language tight. "I assume you'll want to review the client portfolios this week," she said without looking up from her tablet. "I was hoping we could do that together," I replied. She paused, looked up. "Together?" I smiled, trying to stay warm. "You've had such a close view of the top accounts. Your input would be invaluable." She didn't smile back. "I've been doing this 10 years, Ethan. I don't need mentorship on my own work." Ouch! I left that room with my confidence limping. But the real turning point came 2 days later, during my first leadership team strategy session. It was a sleek boardroom with a giant screen, leather chairs, water pitchers no one ever used, and the type of silence that smelled expensive. I sat near the center. My name was on a plaque this time, and I felt like an imposter playing grown-up. We started discussing Codex, and halfway through, I presented my initial roadmap. It had taken me hours, maybe days of analysis. I had redesigned our core delivery model, identified weak points, and proposed a 3-phase rollout that accounted for both agility and client customization. It was solid work. I knew it. But 10 minutes in, I saw eyes darting. A subtle yawn, tapping fingers. And then, a voice cut in. "Ethan, this is thorough," said Craig, our head of marketing. "But have you considered how this will affect existing service packages?" "I have, yes," I replied, clicking to slide 9. "We'd reposition tiered offerings to," Craig interrupted. "Because right now, it feels like you're solving a problem that doesn't exist." The room went still. I nodded, trying to breathe. "Well," I said, "it's about preempting friction points. Clients have voiced." But then Samantha leaned in. "What clients, specifically?" Her tone was ice, the kind that comes with seniority and quiet resentment. I froze for just a second. "I pulled insights from the Q3 survey," I said, forcing calm, "and also direct feedback from the New Horizon and Aerotech teams." Silence. Then Whitmore spoke. Let him finish. It wasn't warm. It wasn't encouraging. It was a command. Cold one. But it saved me. I finished the presentation. No applause. No praise. Just polite nods and another round of whispering eyes. As people left, I gathered my laptop slowly, heart still pounding. Craig didn't look at me. Samantha didn't even say goodbye. But one person stayed back. Maya Singh one of the mid-level product managers. We'd worked together briefly last year. She waited until the room emptied. You held your ground, she said quietly. I exhaled. Felt more like I dug a hole. She smiled. Nah, you just didn't give them the ending they were expecting. I tilted my head. And what ending was that? She shrugged. You folding, apologizing, asking permission. And then she walked away. That moment, small as it was, stuck with me. Not because it erased the doubts, but because it reminded me. They expected me to fail quietly. And maybe I would. But not quietly. The email I've never been the kind of guy who looks for enemies. But after 2 weeks in my new role, it was clear. I wasn't just leading a project. I was stepping onto a battlefield where the weapons were silence, subtle sabotage, and selective memory. And then came the email. It was a Thursday morning, 2 minutes past 9 a.m. I was sipping my coffee when the subject line hit my inbox. Codex rollout concerns? Confidential. It had been forwarded to me by accident. From a junior analyst who hadn't realized I was CC'd in the original thread. My name wasn't supposed to be on it. And that's what made reading it feel like watching myself get dissected on an operating table. The sender was Samantha Lewis, and the recipients included Craig, 2 senior VPs, and a board advisor. The tone was clinical, but the message was brutal. I still believe Ethan's promotion was premature. His roadmap lacks executive vision, and several client-facing teams have raised concerns about his lack of presence. We may need to intervene if performance doesn't correct by Q2. There it was. No ambiguity. No misinterpretation. Just a crystal-clear attempt to build the case for my failure before I even had the chance to prove myself. I stared at the screen. My palms went cold. I could feel my heartbeat in my teeth. Part of me wanted to confront her. Storm into her office, slam the door, and demand an explanation. But I didn't. Instead, I clicked reply, then deleted it. I stood up, walked to the window, took a long breath. If this was going to be war, then I couldn't play defense. I had to flip the script. That night, I stayed late. Everyone else had cleared out by 7. I was still there at 9:30 p.m., hoodie on, headphones in, buried in reports, product timelines, usage analytics, client reviews. I wasn't just reviewing data. I was building ammunition. And then I made a decision. If they were going to question my leadership, I'd prove it in public. I emailed the CEO directly. Subject: proposal for live client showcase. Codex: Daniel, I'd like to propose a live session for the executive team featuring 2 client leads using the Codex beta. We'll walk through the interface, share real-time feedback, and highlight tangible impact. No slides, no theory, just proof. I believe this will shift internal perception and reinforce confidence in our strategy. Ethan he replied in under 5 minutes. Do it. Next Tuesday. Full leadership team. I want to see results. And now the clock was ticking. Friday morning, I met with Maya. She agreed to help me organize it. We picked 2 pilot clients. Aerotech, who had seen a 17% drop in churn using our new analytics suite, and Nexera, who had just doubled their contract after testing the early features that I spent the weekend rehearsing. Not what to say, but how to listen, how to show without overselling. I wanted the clients to speak. Their voices were the defense I couldn't build alone. Tuesday came fast. The conference room was full. Whitmore sat center. Samantha, Craig, even the board advisor were there. Arms crossed, faces unreadable. I stood at the front. My hands were steady. My voice low, clear. Thank you all for being here. Today, I want you to hear directly from the people who matter most. Our clients. The screen lit up. Sarah Levin from Aerotech appeared first. She didn't sugarcoat it. Before Codex, we were frustrated. Your tools felt generic. But now, my team actually wants to log in. She walked through key metrics. reduction in manual processes, increased retention, higher net promoter scores. Then came Raj Patel from Nexera. He was blunt. We didn't just renew, we expanded. That doesn't happen unless your product solves real pain. I watched the room change. Crossed arms shifted. Craig uncrossed his legs. Samantha blinked more than once. Even the board advisor began taking notes. After 30 minutes, I stepped back. No pitch. No spin. Just results. Whitmore looked at me. He didn't smile, but he nodded, slow, deliberate. Thank you, Ethan. That's persuasive. Then came the moment that made it all worth it. As the meeting ended, and people began filing out, Samantha stayed seated. She glanced at me. Then said, loud enough for others to hear, "That was the first time I saw your leadership show up." I didn't answer, not because I didn't have words, but because I finally didn't need them. Let them whisper. Asterisk, asterisk, I was still here. Asterisk, asterisk. What power sounds like after the live showcase. Something shifted. Not overnight, not dramatically, but like the turning of a tide, slow, steady, undeniable. People started responding to my emails a little faster. Meetings that used to feel like interrogations now carried a subtle air of curiosity. Even Craig, the eternal cynic, sent a Slack message that shocked me. Solid presentation. Clients made your case better than any pitch ever could. Was it approval? Not quite, but it was a start. Still, not everything got easier. The whispers didn't disappear, they just changed form. Where before I was the quiet guy who didn't belong, now I was the surprise pick no one saw coming. Some treated me like I was a temporary anomaly, a glitch in the system, like they were just waiting for the system to correct itself. And in the middle of all that, came my DAD.IT was Sunday afternoon, and I was on the phone with him for the first time in months. We didn't talk often, not out of anger, just distance. He was a retired construction foreman in Pennsylvania. Proud, quiet, not much for corporate talk. "How's the new job?" he asked. I paused. "It's intense," he chuckled. "You always were more of a thinker than a fighter." I wasn't sure if that was a compliment or a warning. He continued, "They giving you trouble?" "A little. Some folks didn't expect me to be in the room, let alone at the head of it." Silence. Then, "You don't gotta yell to be heard, son. You just gotta make 'em stop talking." That line hit me harder than I expected. Because that's what I'd been learning. Leadership wasn't about being the loudest. It was about being the most undeniable. Asterisk, asterisk, that week, I focused not on proving myself, but on empowering others. I looped Maya into roadmap strategy, gave her space to lead user journey discussions. I asked the analytics team to present client behavior insights in our leadership briefings. I stopped acting like I had to earn my spot every day and started acting like I was there to bring people with me. And it worked. Until Friday, that's when I walked into the conference room at 8 a.m. for a weekly sync, only to see Samantha Lewis, Craig, and 2 senior VPs already inside, mid-conversation. They froze when I entered. "Am I early?" I asked, glancing at the invite. Samantha stood, expression unreadable. "We rescheduled. Internal alignment discussion." I looked again. No update. My invite hadn't changed. I wasn't notified. Craig glanced down. Must have been a mistake. It wasn't. I knew it. And they knew I knew. IT was a power move. Exclusion dressed up as logistics. I nodded slowly. "Okay," I said. "Then I'll let you finish." I stepped out, heart pounding. My ears burned. Rage surged, not because they left me out, but because of how casual they were about it. They still didn't think I belonged. But I wasn't going to argue. Instead, I walked back to my desk and opened a new document. Asterisk, asterisk, Codex Vision. 18-month strategic roadmap. Phase 2 proposal, asterisk, asterisk. I poured everything into it. Not just numbers and projections, but narrative, clarity, vision. I outlined hiring plans, cross-functional integration strategies, even an internal mentorship system to identify underutilized talent across departments. I didn't send it to Samantha. I didn't copy Craig. I sent it straight to the CEO. At 7:42 p.m. He replied, "This is the kind of leadership we need. I want you to present this to the board next week." Board. Not team. Not department. Bored. I stared at the screen. My fingers hovered above the keys. This wasn't just a project anymore. Asterisk asterisk, this was legacy. Asterisk asterisk. The room went silent. The boardroom was colder than usual. Literally, someone had cranked the AC. But it felt symbolic too, like the universe was reminding me. Asterisk, this isn't your comfort zone. This is your proving ground. Asterisk, I adjusted my collar, took one last breath, and opened the deck. 12 board members. 2 C-level executives. 1 shot. This wasn't just a presentation, it was a moment. And I knew everyone in that room had already heard something about me. The young guy from the back row. The wildcard CEO pick. The one people expected to fold quietly. I clicked to the first slide. This isn't a roadmap, I began. It's a reframe. Heads lifted. For the past few years, we've been reactive. We've chased trends. We've responded to client needs like firefighters, not architects. Codex is our chance to rebuild, not just what we offer, but how we see ourselves. I spoke clearly, steadily, no theatrics, no buzzwords. Just purpose. I walked them through growth projections, user data, product modularity, integration points, and client retention models. But I kept circling back to something deeper. Innovation isn't just about what we build. It's about who we trust to build it. Then came the slide no one expected. A simple screen. Just 4 photos. Asterisk asterisk Marcus asterisk asterisk. The teammate who told me to step forward. Asterisk asterisk Maya asterisk asterisk. Now promoted to senior PM. Asterisk asterisk Sarah asterisk asterisk from Aerotech. And my dad, standing in front of a house he'd built with his bare hands. I stand here not because I demanded a seat, I said, voice lower now, but because people believed I could build something worth standing on. Silence. Not the awkward kind. The kind that feels like respect. I closed the deck. No pitch. No ask. No desperation. Just, thank you for your time. Then I sat down. The board chair, an older woman with piercing eyes, leaned forward. We've seen many roadmaps. Very few visions. She turned to Whitmore. I believe you made the right call. A few others nodded. One even clapped, softly, but loud enough to be heard. As I walked out of the room, Samantha was leaning against the hallway wall, arms crossed, expression unreadable. I expected a comment. Maybe something sharp, passive-aggressive. But she just looked at me. Then she said, "They told me to keep an eye on you." Pause. Now I think I should be taking notes. That night, I rode the elevator down alone. No applause. No celebration. Just silence. And this time, it didn't feel like rejection. It felt like arrival.